Imagine you witnessed a horrible crime taking place right in front of your eyes. What would you do? Well, in the case of Ashley Harris, she ended up doing the wrong thing. This is Ashley Harris. Ashley was born in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, born in 1983, and she was a larger-than-life soul. Growing up, she was always super close to her parents and step-parents. She was also very close to her sisters, even though she was a little bit different than them. Her sister liked to play with Barbie dolls and paint their nails, while Ashley always liked to do things that were always a bit more rough and tumble, things like sports and things of that nature. She was just a bit more different than her sisters, but that didn't mean that they weren't close. They were extremely close and had a love for each other that was just quite unique. Ashley was also one of those people who never knew a stranger. It was very easy for her to make friends. She quite enjoyed making friends, and she just loved life. Ashley's stepfather and her biological father were both police officers, and the majority of her family thought that she might follow in their footsteps. But even though she kind of dabbled with it for a little bit, she decided that wasn't what she wanted to do. She actually got a job at American Eagle and quickly grew up the ranks and became an assistant manager. And Ashley loved this job. She loved working with the public and working in retail. It was the perfect job for her. On November 28, 2014, a 911 call would come into the Fort Worth Fire Department. Someone was calling from the River Ranch Apartments, and this caller said that he believed there was a fire that was happening in the apartment above him. It didn't take long for word to spread throughout the community that there was a fire at Ashley's apartment, and her friends who loved her so dearly immediately ran to her apartments to check up on her and to see if she was safe. When they realized that the fire was coming from her apartment, one of her friends actually tried getting into the apartment to get her out. As luck would have it, a maintenance man was coming up the hall when he was trying to get into the apartment. It was locked, so the maintenance man helped him bust down the door. Ashley's dog Nala came running out. Ashley's friend did try searching the apartment, but at this point it was too smoky, and he was not able to find anything. When the fire department arrived, they quickly put out the fire and soon found Ashley. She was laying on her bed. Her feet and hands were both bound, and it was very apparent that the fire had not killed her. It was seen that she had trauma to her head and her neck, and there was blood everywhere. They were able to identify her by her driver's license that was found nearby. Police were called and they began to investigate. Police noticed that there was no sign of a struggle in the house at all, and it didn't seem like anything was missing apart from Ashley's keys. Police started interviewing Ashley's friends, and this was around Black Friday, which should have been a busy day for Ashley. As the days leading up to this, she was preparing for it. Ashley hadn't arrived home until about 3 a.m., and one of her friends was actually staying with her dog, Nala. This friend that stayed with Nala said that Ashley's plans were to sleep for a couple of hours, and then get up around 7 or 8, so that she could be back to work. This friend left at about 4:45 in the morning, and she remembers hearing Ashley locking the door when she left. Then one of Ashley's neighbors, who was a retired California police officer, told police that he had seen a suspicious car parked next to Ashley's truck at about 7 a.m. This car had belonged to a previous employee that worked at American Eagle with Ashley. Carter Cervantes had worked at the American Eagle with Ashley. She drove the black car that was parked next to Ashley's. Carter Cervantes had worked at an American Eagle in Amarillo, Texas, and she hired David Mallory. They began a relationship while Carter was a manger at the American Eagle, and the company did not like that very much. Carter would have been responsible for the shifts that David would have worked and how much he was paid. It was just a huge conflict of interest. And when the company found out about the relationship, they said that Carter could either quit or be transferred. She opted to be transferred to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And as soon as she was transferred, David would stop showing up to his shifts in Amarillo. David then ended up moving to Dallas, Texas, with Carter. A couple of months prior to Ashley's murder, in August of 2014, someone had broken into the American Eagle and stole $18,000 worth of money from the safe at the American Eagle. It looked like this person knew the store and knew where they were going. It was also seen on CCTV footage that Carter had left the back door propped open the night before when was taking out the trash. On the same CCTV footage, it looked like David was the one who broke in, and it was Ashley who was the one to say that this was probably Carter and David stealing this money. Both Carter and David were fired after this. Ashley's autopsy came back, and there were signs of asphyxia and blunt force trauma to the head and neck. Ashley had been cut in the head, stomped, and had ligature marks on her neck. So since Carter and David both had motive at this point, police started to follow them. On Saturday, November 29th at about 7:45 a.m., police watched David and Cater, and they were going to the mall where this American Eagle was located. And and once they got to the mall, Carter got out and went to the American Eagle, and she is seen on CCTV footage trying to unlock the store. But what she didn't know was that the American Eagle had changed the locks as a precaution after Ashley's death. Police soon arrested both Carter and David not long after. When Carter was in for questioning, they gave her a bottle of water, and she was seen wiping down the entire bottle, making sure she left nothing on it, and then did not touch that bottle again. Police then asked Carter about her trip to the mall that morning, but she denied being there. Police would then get a search warrant for her apartment, and in her apartment they found a murder kit. It had 2 shovels, a rope, gloves, a tarp, and some duct tape. All of these items were bought on November 21st. Police also searched Carter's car, and inside they found a loaded gun, several knives, and her cell phone, and they also found blood on the floor, and it had been transferred from David's boot. And this blood did match Ashley. David and Carter had also been planning this through their text messages, and they had originally planned to abduct Ashley and bury her north of Abilene. And it seems like something had gone wrong at this point, so that was when they decided to set the fire. During Carter's trial, she said that David had been the mastermind behind the whole thing, and that he had brainwashed her to commit this robbery and murder. But on May 6th of 2016, Carter was convicted of murder and sentenced to life in prison. In 2017, David was also convicted and was also sentenced to life.